Mob Psycho 100 is one of those series that continues to surprise me with impressive visuals, humorous storytelling, and enthralling characters. In Season 2 of Mob Psycho 100, this is no exception. I do really enjoy the unusual story writing told by the author 1. Yeah, the creator of the manga is literally alias as 1. Most noticeable by their other work, One Punch Man. I found the casual, rough art style of Mob Psycho 100 to be oddly entertaining. It's not the most cutting-edge art style, but it got the job done. In the end, Mob Psycho 100 distinguishes itself from One Punch Man quite drastically, though a lot of similarities can also be drawn. Other than being an exceptional slice of life / shonen series, I have little to no complaints about its setup. Though there is one aspect of the show that I found could be troublesome for the future of Mob Psycho, and that's what I'll primarily be focusing on in this video. I'll start with a brief summary of Season 2's overall plot, then move on to the issue I was talking about previously. I felt the second season wasn't that much of an improvement from Season 1 in terms of quality and storytelling, though that's understandable since many of the characters' personas are already established. The main aspect that drew me into One's work is their interesting way to portray an unstoppable yet fragile anti-hero. Look at Saitama from One Punch Man. His powers literally surpass all of his rivals by miles, yet he refuses to get involved with the whole superhero scene. Shigeo from Mob Psycho 100 is not much different. He's an ordinary boy in high school with insane psychic powers. However, he's unable to control his feelings like a normal person. And the shtick of his character is that whenever he becomes overwhelmed with emotion, aka hitting 100%, he goes absolutely berserk, crushing everything in his path. Here's the problem though. Planning the anime series had to have been a pain since each story arc had to contain some kind of character development in some way. Unlike the manga, just having good storytelling is not enough to justify the quality of an anime. For example, if Season 2 of the anime only focused on Shigeo's random encounters with different spirits, like the first half of the season without any overarching story arc or character development, then honestly it would suck. But luckily it's not. We get to see more characters, learn more about Mob, learn more about Reigen, how they met, what their ambitions are. Every single mini-story arc before the final showdown have some kind of involvement with the character development, and everything is concluded nicely with a final confrontation with Claw. That being said though, I have but one issue with the future of Mob Psycho 100. The unusual characterization of Shigeo by One is still a mystery to this day. The thing I found to be most worrisome is that Mob Psycho 100 should not stray too far from its formula. I've noticed that in the second season, there were a few moments where Mob Psycho almost lost some of its initial charm. What I mean by this is Mob's badassery whenever his emotions hit 100%. You see, one of the most engaging elements about the series is that the audience knows that whenever that meter hits 100%, something big is gonna go down. But during episode 6, Mob almost lost the fight even though that number hit the triple digits. That suddenly drags down the significance of that number. This is even more so in the final battle. Shigeo hit 100%, but he only contested with about 10% of Suzuki's powers. The show is literally going against its own premise here. Shigeo is supposed to be unbeatable. In the first season, when he hits 100, we all know something badass is about to go down. But here it's just, wow, he hit 100, that's cool. Still not gonna win though. This is Mob Psycho 100, not Mob Psycho 1000, not Mob Psycho question mark. It's like in One Punch Man, if Saitama meets someone that's actually stronger than him, the show would immediately lose a lot of its charm. Actually scratch that, it would lose all of its charm. See, Saitama being the strongest being alive is the hook. It's the punchline of the series, no pun intended. Him being unstoppable yet having a skeptical view of the world is what makes One Punch Man so great as a franchise. Breaking that rule will be breaking its entire premise. If we apply that to Mob Psycho 100, Shigeo being an absolute monster when that meter hits 100% is Mob Psycho 100's shtick. It's why the series is so captivating. He's supposed to be unstoppable, to defeat any foes that stand before his powers. Now, if he was still contested by his opponents, even if he hit 100, then that number suddenly becomes less significant. Hell, like what I said before, the show itself is called Mob Psycho 100, just like how the almighty anti-hero Saitama is granted the title One Punch Man. Now, Shigeo's defeat in Season 1 by the mind control dude made sense since he was too overwhelmed with the illusion that his brother has been murdered. This was actually a genius move on the writer's part. In order to plan for Shigeo's defeat, a lot of setup is needed. I guess another way to ask this is, what does it mean when that meter hits 100? Season 1 was an example of Shigeo's defeat done correctly. The second season though, not so much. This is generally something I'm concerned about the series. However, I actually have a fix to this problem. Instead of just outright overpowering Shigeo through physical strength, why not make Suzuki a charismatic character, like Reigen? If he was mentally powerful enough, it will make Mob almost impossible to hit 100%, and that would make the moment when he eventually does hit it more noticeable. While I understand it's difficult as it is to introduce a story that captures the life of an unstoppable protagonist, the show needs to stay true to the premise of their own narrative. Now, I still really enjoy the second season, especially that final battle. Definitely had me on the edge of my seat, anticipating the next week so I could get more mob action. In the end, Mob Psycho 100 is less about superpowers or being badass. It's a story about coping with reality, with one's feelings. I saw the show as more of a life lesson than a competition to show off who was stronger. The technical aspect of the show complements its casual storytelling, and represents the ongoing struggles of a teenage boy fighting to find his rightful place in the world. With simplistic yet meaningful imagery, Mob Psycho 100 continues to be a top-notch work of anime today. Season 2 of Mob Psycho embodies the conflicts of being a youth, and maintains it, if not improves upon the first season. For those looking for a pleasant experience with a slice of life that steadily grows more serious as the gears of life turns, look no further than Mob Psycho 100 Season 2.